Hi, my name is Rhonda and I am a mom in Alaska and my son has Fibular Hemimelia. He's now 5 years old and I've been thinking about doing these videos for a while, but I'm finally getting around to doing it. I decided to make these videos because when I was going through my journey, I found it really helpful to hear other people's experiences. And so I wanted to be able to share that with other people. And hopefully this helps someone else. So I'm going to make a couple of videos. This video is going to be about how I found out about my son having fibular hemimelia, FH for short. How I found out my son had FH, and I'm also going to make videos about like what FH is, one about his prosthetics, and also one about treatment options and what we chose and why. So, where to begin? So I went in for my 20-week ultrasound and we left there and I had the worst pictures ever and I was so disappointed and I was like, great, the photographer gets the crappy pictures. Like, this is it. And the next day, my doctor called me though and she was like, hey, can you go in for some more ultrasound pictures? Like, your pictures didn't come out very well, and I just need to be able to see some more detail. And I was like, it's not just me. Like, they really were bad enough that my doctor wants more. So I was actually really excited to go in and get some more pictures. So we went in, got some more ultrasound pictures with a better machine and a different tech, and they came out so much better, and I was so excited. And then on Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon, so that happened on Monday and Tuesday, and on Thursday that week at 1:30 in the afternoon, my doctor called me and she said, you're going to need to sit down for this. Your son has this thing called fibular hemimelia, and she told me how to spell it, and she told me about like all these famous people and successful people who were born with this, and said, you're probably going to want to do some more research, and I'm also going to want to do some more testing just to make sure there's nothing else going on. And I was like, okay. So we got through that conversation, and somehow I was able to get through that without losing it. But I got off the phone, and then I had to call my husband and tell him. And that was really hard. I remember like having to say it out loud was the moment where I just totally lost it. And I'm at work. And like, I was such a wreck. I was like, I can't even leave my office because I'm such a wreck. Luckily, I was working in public accounting at the time, and one of my good friends actually worked kitty corner. My office was kitty corner from his office. And so I went in there and I muttered through what was going on, and he was like, would you like me to go talk to the partners for you? And I was like, yes, I can't even. And so he went and talked to the partners, and amazingly, this is March, middle of tax season, and the partners said, take as much time as you need, which was just amazing. Such a great firm. It's R2G in Fairbanks, if you want to know. They're a great firm, and they take care of their clients. And so from there, that week, however, was also the Arctic Winter Games, and I was in charge of the galas and the opening and ending ceremonies, the opening and closing ceremonies. And so that night was Thursday, so we had a gala on Thursday night and we had a gala on Friday night that I still was in charge of, and I really couldn't pass that on because there wasn't anybody to pass it on to. And the show must go on. And so I left my office and I went over to the theater where that was going to happen that night, and I checked on everybody, made sure like everything was going okay. And then I just started researching, and the most beneficial thing I found was other people sharing their stories, and it gave me the sense of hope And my husband at that point also showed up, and we had to like call family, and it was just, yeah, it was really overwhelming. Um, but starting to research it and seeing other people having gone forward in this journey was so helpful for me at that point. And so we got through Thursday night, and I went home, went to bed, somehow slept, and I woke up the next day, and I just remember like not even wanting to get out of bed. I was just so broken heart. Like nobody ever chooses to have a baby that's not absolutely 100% perfect from head to toe with every bone and molecule and everything that goes into a baby. Like that's just not something that anybody chooses, um, but it happens. Um, and so I woke up and I just remember being really sad about that. Um, but I still had this gala to do that night, and so I woke up, started researching like crazy again. Went to the theater, made sure stuff was going on, and I was talking to students there. And at the Arctic Winter Games, these kids come from all over the world in the Arctic regions to compete in athletics, and then they also have a special cultural portion where kids come to perform in cultural arts. And so that was what I was in charge of, was those ceremonies. And so I was sitting down talking to some of those students, and I remember talking to this one student, and she just told me about her struggle and how hard it was for her to get there and all these obstacles that she had to overcome to get there. And it was so helpful for me at that moment, because I was like, okay, we all have things that we struggle with. We all have things that we have to deal with, and there's always something. And I was like, okay, so this is our thing. This is our thing that we're gonna have to figure out and struggle with. Um, and from there, I just kept researching. I think I went back to work at the firm on Monday, if I remember correctly. Anyways, if you want to know that detail, um, I just continued to research, and I decided that I'm a researcher, love researching, obsessed with researching, especially if there's something to solve. And so I just started reading. Like I was reading medical journals. I was reaching out and talking to different doctors about different treatment options, and I went and saw a couple of different prosthetists in Anchorage, talked to leg lengthening doctors, um, talked to another doctor in Anchorage, and I had this goal to be able to do all of this research and figure out kind of our plan before before justice came, because I wanted to be able to just enjoy him when he finally arrived, and just to be able to enjoy that moment and not have to worry and wonder what's going to happen. And I was able to do that, and it was very beneficial for me. And when he did come at the hospital, like I had to actually educate the nurses and stuff, because this was the first time they'd ever been introduced to fibular hemimelia. And so it was very helpful for me to have done so much research and to have so much knowledge about what was going on. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of how we found out, and the beginning of our journey into the FH world. So yeah, thanks.